Welcome one and all to another edition of the Defo Show with Luby here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. Our friends at Water Cleanup of Florida have just announced open enrollment to their new membership program. This preventative maintenance, look, preventative. See, I've had work done with Water Cleanup of Florida on my townhouse. They did an amazing job. I would love to have prevented the issue ahead of time. And look, Water Cleanup of Florida, great minds. Not anything alike. They're the great minds, I think, ahead of the curve. This program, their maintenance program, will assist the average homeowner to become more aware of the primary maintenance needs in your home or your office. Additional programs to place members on a hurricane priority list, whether event and annual air quality testing services. Okay, so that's a big thing is we don't have anything. We don't need to worry about anything. Then a storm happens and everyone needs help. Well, if you become a member with Water Cleanup of Florida, then you would be at the top of the list when a major storm or weather event happens. On top of that, they will make sure that your air quality, they're doing testing annually to get, again, ahead of any possible issues. After over 60 plus years of inspecting buildings for damage in South Florida, Water Cleanup of Florida has noticed trends that lead to the development of this unique program. Insurance claims typically do not cover damage due to a lack of primary maintenance. If you're not taking care of your home, whatever happens, they'll find a way to blame you and not on what happens. Leaking windows, doors, air handlers, and heavy rain seepage are just a few examples of costly projects that could have been avoided if the property was better maintained. Most homeowners need help starting and following a property maintenance plan. I'm raising my hand. You can't see me. I'm raising my hand. That is where the WCUFL membership program can help. Learn more about our customizable maintenance tips and service plan annual inspections, hurricane priority service, air quality testing, and more. Water Cleanup of Florida is also a fully licensed, insured, and certified building contractor. So if you have damage that needs to be addressed, we can handle it from start to finish. Call Michael anytime. Believe me, I've done it. I was doing it on his personal cell phone. If you have any questions at 954-579-0356. Again, Michael's waiting for your call, ready for your call to leap into action. 954-579-0356. Or visit the website, WCUFL.com. Check out them on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL. And with over 85-star reviews, Google's the home. A lot of the time that makes you feel better or helps you find somewhere. In this case, they'll do everything when it comes to Water Cleanup of Florida. The 5-star reviews are abounding on Google. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you have the schmutz, they have the guts. It's been very schmutzy for the Miami Heat in recent times. They're getting help from the Nets. They're getting help from the Knicks. 2 programs, 2 teams, 2 units from South Florida that have not gotten help. They've taken care of everything themselves so far. Our 2 Final Four combatants, and I say our because I'm a South Floridian through and through, FAU, Miami Hurricanes, find themselves in the Final Four, both for the first time in their program's history. We talk with Mr. South Florida analyst, the one and only sports columnist for over 3 decades, Dave Hyde, joining us today to talk about the Canes, the Owls, also some Heat and Panthers here on the Devo Show with Luby on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
We welcome to the show a guy who knows Mayo well. And, it's interesting because, we've been in this boat, Dave Hyde. And how are you, by the way, Dave Hyde? Good to have you on the program.
Good to be here, Defo. Surprising day.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, you know how this goes, right? The staff has a meeting right after the football season ends. I don't care where you're working, the radio station, or the newspaper, and they go, so what the hell are we supposed to do now, you morons? Because there was nothing. But if you were starved for a column, this is a good week, is it not?
If FAU and Miami played at the first game of the year, nobody'd even notice.
Yeah, it'd be the Shula Bowl. That would be it.
It's such a bizarre college basketball market for us, of all teams, all places to have 2 of the Final Four teams. And now there's a chance these 2 teams will play in the last game of the season, and the whole nation will be watching. So it's a fun time here.
What do you think? I mean, if they had that first game of the year and it was Gucci bag night at FAU with the University of Miami, do you think they would have drawn like 300 fans?
Yeah, and Miami would have maybe double that, right? But
Yeah.
I got to look up. I believe that when FAU plays in Houston, if you totaled up all their home crowds, it wouldn't equal what the arena holds in Houston.
Honestly.
Wow.
So I might. Now they sold out their last 7 games at about 3,000. That was
Okay.
those are the top 7 attendance records in FAU basketball history, by the way. Their last 7 home games. So there were people getting on the bandwagon for FAU as they, what were they, 31-3, I believe, in the regular season.
Yeah.
This is something that certainly all us sports experts had no idea was coming. I thought Charles Barkley had the line of the weekend when he someone on the was it TBS or TNT sets asked him whether he knew who Vladimir Golden was before this weekend.
Yeah.
And he said, I had no idea he was alive. And let's not pretend any of us knew.
I know.
A lot of the stuff that now we're like, wow, that team's pretty good.
They're amazing. We came up with a Jay Billis, Mike Mayock type term. I mean, what's impressive is their late game resilience. I mean, they don't fall apart. This is, you'll see like Kansas State, putting themselves in a position to win a ball game, or any of the other teams that they faced, and they're the ones that seem to come out with the better composure, making the right plays, and not making hideous turnovers and mistakes, hitting free throws and hitting key shots, and they won all of their games. So somehow in that fashion.
Yeah, and I thought, FAU was down by 6 in the second half to Kansas State. Nothing, and there was plenty of time left, so it wasn't like they were in severe danger. Miami was in danger last night. Miami was down 13 in the second half. They were down 10 with 8 minutes to go. And I thought they hadn't shown anything in that game yet that said that they could really pull it out. And all of a sudden they started playing defense. They started hitting shots. And that was a shocking win for Miami. It just looked like Texas was in such control of that game. But Miami didn't fold up. And I still unbelievable. Two teams from down here. We've never had a team in the Final Four. Now we have 2.
Yeah.
Well, and basketball, I've often mentioned this. I was shocked to discover when I first moved here in 1981 that when the football season ended, there was no UM basketball. I remember asking Carl Schmidt was the sports information director there. I guess was he around? When you came here, Carl Schmidt, the great Carl Schmidt.
He's the SID. He was just on his way to Louisville with Schnellenberger when I came here. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I asked him after attending a Howard Schnellenberger little press gathering that he used to have, so where are the basketball offices? And he just looked at me like I was, from another planet. So, what? There's no basketball team here? I was used to covering like UCLA. So, that was a shocker. And then, of course, the town's reaction to college basketball has been beyond indifference over the many, many years. And times to jump on a bandwagon. But Dave, you know this. I don't know how many times you've written this column. Is South Florida not the greatest bandwagon jumping place that exists anywhere in the country? And it's a great place to do it also.
We go in.
People say that like it's a negative connotation. I think it's great.
It's spring break for sports.
Follow? Yes, it's tremendous. It's an event town and a bandwagon town. If you get a winner, they'll be all on board. And if not, well, look at the Marlins and the Panthers in the last 20 years. It's and look at these the 2 leaders of these programs. Dusty May came out of nowhere, Florida assistant. He wasn't going to take the FAU job because he wasn't really interested in the program. Looked awful. They've gone after big name coaches like Sidney Green, who and Matt Doherty, and you go down the line.
Yeah,
Rex Walters. They were known,
Yep.
They were former NBA players,
Yep.
and
Yes.
and so he goes in there and turns that around, and look, Jim Larrañaga might be. You look at the hires that have been made in South Florida sports, and he's up there with as good a hire as any team has made.
Yeah. There's a slogan too. I mean, and I guess it ties along with the inequity in jobs among minorities. But and this was a common phrase that you heard: once you go black, you never go back. So Larrañaga was kind of an oddball hire there at that time. They had a series of black head coaches, and you thought maybe they would stay in that area with the diversity, and the fact that that they really hadn't flirted with that much outside of Reddy Shannon. I mean, with head coaches in football. And Larrañaga was 61 years old, and I remember people were concerned that why would they hire an older guy when they need like a young guy that's going to be here a long time and and infuse a bunch of energy into the program. But I mean, Larrañaga, I mean, he is beyond amazing. I mean, not only a basketball treasure chest in terms of just talking about the game, but he's right there with these kids dancing in the locker room, and they love him.
I tell you what, his moves aren't bad, are they?
He's got some rhythm.
He has to practice. I got to ask him. He has to practice those, right? I mean, you just can't get up and not that he's Michael Jackson or anything, but you can't get up and have some knowledge of what you're going to do with the next step without practicing. Seriously.
Well, I mean, I've been doing, the two-step that you see, is in vogue at Jewish bar mitzvahs and weddings forever, and that's about, the only moves I can bust. So yeah, he does. He has sort of a Latin rhythm to him.
Larrañaga is a good old man step, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's sort of what we should all
aspire to. Yeah,
me included should be going for. I could do that. I can get that down, and it looks like you have a little rhythm to you.
100%.
All right, let's. I was trying to put this in perspective of all the great things that I've been able to witness here over the years I've been here, and of course the first one, after I came here in '81 was the '83 Hurricane team that won the Orange Bowl over Nebraska that year to win the national championship. It was phenomenal, and we've had all kinds of other stuff. Obviously, the Heat have had success. They had two different periods where they were championship material. They managed to win 3 titles. The Marlins, with that surprising. They did go for all of the free agents and all of the controversy about they bought a title, but nonetheless 97 very exciting. But what kind of perspective can we put this in terms of where does it rank? And I would think it's more unusual even than any of the championships that we have 2 South Florida college basketball teams in the same year's Final Four.
Wow, this is let's put it this way.
It's a tough one, yeah, because it doesn't involve a title yet.
Yeah, in this generation of sports, there's nothing that comes close, and in part because we've been a wasteland other than the Heat for since 2000, right? So all of a sudden we get this wonderful story of 2 programs, neither of which have been to the Final Four. I mean, Florida Atlantic hadn't won an NCAA tournament game in their history.
Yes.
They'd been to one NCAA tournament in 2002. And all of a sudden, they're in the Final Four. And then the University of Miami that look, they were in the Elite Eight last year, so it's not a shock from basketball standards that they made it here. On the other hand, it's a shock from historical standards they made it here. They're also the first time in the Final Four. The fact they do it together, it's like a bright sunny day on our wasteland, right?
Yes,
yeah,
it really is.
It's amazing. It really is. I would at this point equate. Of course, if one of them goes on to win the championship, then it takes on different connotations. And imagine if both of them meet, like you said, for the title game.
That's crazy. If we're automatically going to get one of them to win.
Yeah, the Madison Avenue people, they were already diving out of the window on the CBS Final Four ad sales team.
Well, that's what I wanted to say is if you're nationally, because that to me, this whole thing is just funny. Like I'm actually just like I literally my reaction, and we've been on UM a long time. We love Larinaga. And FAU we followed this year because Jim Sarney's annoying and he wouldn't let us not follow them.
Yeah.
So my reaction was just to laugh because I've been out and about all around South Florida, and Defo and I are big college basketball guys, and we try to force it in there, and people don't even know that it's on. So the fact that when each one, I just sat there laughing. I'm like, this has got to be a mockery to the system because the nation does like this. This is a top 3 sporting event in America. And in South Florida, it's not even top 15. Like F1 is more supported down here than college basketball. Like it just is. So I just laughed. But like, as a guy who's covered these, to look at this Final Four, San Diego State, this UConn, not Jim Calhoun UConn, AAC UConn, Miami and FAU. If you're the NCAA or you're CBS, you're like, what the hell?
Oh, they're nightmare. They're nightmare. Can you imagine?
Wow.
I got to look up where did Miami rank in the last few Final Four TV ratings? And can you imagine?
We're always bottom 5.
South Florida?
We're bottom 5. South Florida is usually like bottom 5
clearly,
markets.
Clearly, we might be at the bottom every time. And all of a sudden they could have 2 teams from this in the Final Four. I mean, good Lord! And can you imagine the poor hotel
Yes.
managers in Houston? They were looking at. They're expecting every program to come like Connecticut, traveling. They got their whole bandwagon set up historically. And then all of a sudden, here comes FAU and Miami, which together might fill a Marriott, right? So the joke's
insane,
on them, right?
And now, will you be traveling out there? Because
How do you know?
everything in Houston is named Sam Houston. So be careful if you get in an Uber. And I was trying to get to Sam Houston racetrack, and I ended up at a clinic after about a 45-minute ride. That was very expensive.
I'm actually waiting. I'm waiting word from my editors now that funds have been clear. We might have to start a GoFundMe page.
They have to send you out there. Are you kidding me? This would be a disgrace.
For this FAU
For the Sun
in the
Sentinel.
Final
Are you
Four.
kidding me?
Come on.
Well,
Wow.
this is like every place else. Our higher ups are shocked beyond knowing what to do. And
I'm sure they're prepared for
if
this.
anything tells you how shocking this is to South Florida, it's that we're scrambling to. What do we do? We've never had to do this before,
Look, we got to send somebody. What about Hyde? Does he want to go? I mean, he owes us one. All that travel he did with Mayo and Sarney and the boys when they were going to Wimbledon. Yeah.
I used to travel to the Final Four every year, and from there I'd go to the Masters many years. When Mayo, when I wanted to be on the road for 10 days because I had 3 kids at home and my poor wife would have to deal with it. The truth.
It's always good to be able to bolt under those circumstances. Under the auspices of doing work, yes.
Yeah, but that was to cover outside teams. None of our teams ever made it, and now here it's shocking. I mean, I still can't believe the headline. We've gone mad to think that 2 teams from the Final Four.
Do they have a guy that actually covers either team at the paper on a regular basis? I mean,
we have a UM beat writer. We actually had an FAU beat writer until a few years back. But yeah, so yeah, we're well versed, and Adam Lichtenstein's all over UM.
Well, I mean, I hope you get there because it should be a lot of fun. And, of course, they're going to be in 2 separate games in the Saturday night variety, which I think gets underway like 6 o'clock. So both teams are going to be underdogs, and they're the 2 longer shots to win the whole championship. Canes at 5-1, FAU 6-1, UConn an overwhelming odds-on favorite at -125.
What do you make of those odds, Defo? You're an odds maker.
Yeah, I mean, look, UConn has steamrolled its way in there, and the way they just absolutely, blasted Gonzaga out of the tournament, which many people were buying in again with this Mark Few guy. I guess he has one of those faces that you're thinking you feel sorry for the cat that he's never won a championship, so it's about time, right? And last year was his best shot, I think, by far, to get knocked out early. Luby thought they were going to do something. I said, teams tend to play to their tendencies, which is to choke.
Man, they did.
And they've choked as a number 1 seed, and they're going to choke again as a number 3. But UConn was a wise guy pick going into the tournament. There were many people that were mentioning UConn as a possibility, maybe as an upset potential team. And so, I think they deserve to be favored the way they played so far. They're blowing people out.
Well, then once again, FAU is no one expects them to win the next game, and yet they just keep winning. And Miami, look, Miami's tougher than most people.
Yeah,
everybody was picking.
They hustle.
People were picking Texas going to the last game. They were picking Houston the game before that. So you expect them, and look, Connecticut's a really good team. So. Miami, in a way, things have broken just right for FAU.
Yes.
Purdue got knocked out early. Then they played Farley Dickinson in the second round. Kansas State was a 3 seed. Miami's had a tough path here. They've beat the 1, the 2 seed in their bracket, and then here they are.
Yeah, 4, 1, and 2 in succession. Pretty good after drawing another wise guy special in Drake in the opening round, which a lot of people deem to be no gimme, as evidenced by the point spread being a meager 2.5, even though they had the big disparity in what level seed they were. Dave, all right, I'm glad you won't be hurting for something to come up with. I woke up this morning thinking I was going to have a pretty easy time of it.
Yeah, a couple things. I was going to go to Larry Little, is having a street name for him outside his high school.
Congrats. Nice.
Oh, yeah?
This morning. That would have been a fun column to do. And then, there's the Marlins opener this week. That
they're off the front page
by this small story of 2 teams going to the Final Four.
Marlins opening day, man, always big news. And then the second day, that's it. It goes right back to being Marlins baseball here, where you can hear a guy talking on his cell phone from deep left field if you happen to be behind home plate. No, it's going to be. I'm a little concerned about the Marlins early season attendance this year. I think that could be pretty disastrous, in spite of the fact that they seem to make some moves that are a little bit beyond cosmetic, but then in there with no shot.
Cosmetic. They're cosmetic. They were made out of desperate. They had no other choice but make those moves, so they made them. I mean, they couldn't go out and get power, so they got this idea that they're going to bring small ball back into the game. Okay,
here we go. There's another single. Just a little bingo. That's all we need, right? Why do people call it a bingo, a single? I never got that.
Meanwhile, your Mets just spent another $10 million as we're talking. So.
Well, Steve Cohen, man, he was a Met fan, and he's got a lot of dough. All right, thanks, Dave. Always a pleasure.
All right,
friend.
Devo.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Yes, for so long, Miami Heat have carried South Florida sports. The Dolphins are still, I don't want to say mired in mediocrity, even though their record was literally the definition of mediocre. But they've shown flashes. They've gone and made moves that you hope means they're going to go from mediocre to good, maybe great. The Marlins have flirted with mediocrity to bad. They try to make a lot of moves, as Dave and Defoe talked about. We'll see if any of those do anything this upcoming season. The Florida Panthers flirted with greatness, as they were the number 1 seed in all of hockey last year, were setting records, then sucked in the playoffs. Yeah, I got a first series win in over 2 decades, but went down in flames to a lower-seeded Tampa Bay Lightning, where they got swept. And this year have been utterly dreadful. They finally seemed like they had a stranglehold to get into the playoffs, and then lost 3 in a row. So the Panthers have been a total disaster. Right now, what we do have is college basketball, something that I know 5 Reasons Sports faithful aren't the biggest fans of. But look, the Miami Hurricanes are in the Final Four. And whether you watch college basketball or you don't, Final Four is a blast. The NCAA tournament, March Madness, is a blast. And it's probably top 3 in American sports events. You have the Super Bowl, obviously. We now have maybe the NBA Finals, I guess, because South Florida, we care about the Miami Heat. And you have March Madness. I mean, those are the 3 biggest, I would think, events. You have the World Series and you have some other things, but those seem to be the biggest events in America. And South Florida has 2 of the 4, FAU and the Miami Hurricanes. So it's going to be interesting this upcoming weekend. We're going to talk more about that. We will talk more Heat and touch on the Panthers, and the Marlins have opening day coming up. So a lot going on in South Florida. And finally, some positivity, some winning. Go Canes. Go Owls. We'll catch you right here. Oh, you check us out, actually, by the way, every morning, 7 to 9 on South Florida Live. Check out Defoe on 5 right here on 5 Reasons Sports Network. Check out our national podcast. We have a lot of fun, interesting conversations in and outside of the world of sports. The Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search After Hours. And again, right here, more South Florida sports. The Defoe Show with Luby on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.